Shalom, shalom, it's the brother Kadash.
Shalom, it's your brother Quanah.
We'll start off by giving our praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash.
This is going to be Revelation chapter 13 breakdown. We're going to jump straight into it because we damn near had like an hour conversation. I didn't get it on camera with a Issachar that came up, and it was very, very, very edifying, you know what I mean? But everything ain't got to be on camera, you know. Some things you just do the work for the Lord. So we had an hour conversation before camp pushed us back, and Revelation 13 is so long already, so we just gonna hop straight into it.
Starting at the top, Revelation 13.
Go off the phone.
Revelation 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up of the sea, out of the sea, Salaki, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns.
Right there. So the beast, we didn't broke this down before. That's talking about NATO, but we gonna break down the 7 heads and everything again, right? Off the top of our head. And then I want you to pay attention to where it says out the sea, came out the sea, a beast coming out the sea, NATO, right? So we're gonna start right here, Revelation 17, verse 5. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. And I saw a woman drunken with the blood of the saints and the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration, right? Great admiration is just like when you come to America, they had that thing back in the day that was called the American Dream, right?
Right.
So everybody, just like we used to talk to the Issachar, like, man, that was some good work right there. I wish I would have got it on camera, but it is what it is, right? He gonna check it out. He gonna check out the page, right? They all wanted to come to America, right? Everybody, really all the Israelites wanted to come to America, and they was jumping over mountains and shit, going over mountains to come to America because everybody wanted to live the American dream. That's that great admiration. Like, this is the richest place on earth, man. The most powerful place on earth. The #1 economy on earth, man. You could go to America, you can live your dreams, you could be rich, you could be an actor, an entertainer. That's what everybody look at it for, right? Verse 7, it says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and the beast that carried her, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns, just like in Revelation 13, right? It says, and the beast that thou sawest was and not, and shall ascend out the bottom of the spit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose name were not written in the book of the life of the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is, right? So the beast that came out the bottomless pit, right? America is Rome all over again. Rome is NATO, which we gonna get into NATO, right? We gonna break it down, right? So when you get with NATO, well, when you get with Rome, like we just told the brother, Rome came back, man. That deadly wound was healed, and they came back, but they don't call themselves Romans today. Right. They call themselves Americans, you know. Really, NATO, the Edomites, that's who break down. It used to be called Edom, Rome. So when you go down to the Capitol building, they have all that Roman architect and everything, the Roman peace treaty. They making you worship the old beast, man, and the 7 heads, right? Just trying to get into the flow real quick, you know what I mean? So with the 7 heads, which we already broke down before, what verse was that? 7 heads, verse 7. So you got the Greeks, right? So really it's Roman architect, but they got it from the Greek. And then if you really break it down and go all the way back to Egypt, man. So you got the Greeks, then you got the Romans, right? The Greeks was like they first major civilization, the beginning of them coming into power with Alexander the Greek. Yeah, exactly. But they really got their power with the Romans, right? So you got the Greeks, Roman, the French, the Spaniards. We were breaking it down to the Issachar, like how the Spaniards conquered them, and he was feeling it. And he already knew because he was doing his own research on it, right? French, Spaniards, right? Greeks, Roman, French, Spaniards, Germaner Major, Germaner Minor, and Great Britain. That's 7, right? Yeah. Right. So you got Great Britain, and we know that America comes from the British colonies. Right. But you have British settlers come over. You have French settlers come over. You have Spaniard settlers come over. German settlers come over. And now today they just call themselves Americans, but they really still those same people, man. They really still those same people.
They still the Greeks. They still the Romans. They still, you know, all of those 7 different nations that came up, because they was just rebuilding themselves back into power under different names.
Yep. Right. And this verse 9 says, and here is the mind which has wisdom, The 7 heads are 7 mountains in which the woman sitteth. 7 kingdoms, right? The mountains represents kingdoms, right? And the woman sitteth on Nado, right? On that power structure build up the woman, which is today Mystery Babylon, like we just said, because those people are still those same Germans, British, Spaniards, French. They're still those same people, man. They're still the Greeks. They're still the Romans, right? It says, verse 10, and there are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. America, very short space, right? It says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th and goes into perdition, because the 7th one is British, and then the Britain, and we know that America came from Great Britain, right? It says, remember what's that, the 4th of July?
Yeah.
You had the Independence Day War. That was them fighting for their independence from the British.
Right.
And really, they only won that shit because they enlisted the slaves. So really, Jake won it for them, which is the same thing today.
That's why they brought Jake in, because they was already losing the war.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? They was already losing the war, and so they brought Jake in. You know what I'm saying? But at first, Jake was rebellious to it. Like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? But then they made a promise to him. You know, the 40 acres and a mule.
Yep.
And so that's what brought Jake in, because they're like, okay, fuck it, we ain't gonna be slaves no more.
And then what they do?
Lied to him, and then
Renege.
Exactly.
Reneged on the promise, man. And that's what really, so really, they wouldn't have shit if it wasn't for Jake. And that's why they keep a hold of Jake, Israel, so hard, man, because they knew they won't have shit. If they let Israel go, they lose everything, man. But the Lord gonna come and free us from this man's grips. You see what I'm saying? But they wouldn't have shit really on our backs. You know, so they really got to credit them even having independence to the Israelites. And then we build all this shit on our backs. And then our brothers, this was their land first. You see what I'm saying? And we build all this shit on our backs. And we won the wars. And really today, what's keeping them in power is Jake is in their army today. You know, that's keeping them in power. Right? So let's keep going. Verse 12, and the 10 horns which I saw for 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as king 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and should give their power and their strength into the beast. Like we said, NATO. To you Google NATO, Wikipedia. NATO, they are coming as allies, and they give their power really to the great horde that's sitting on top of the beast. Because the great horde sitting on top of the beast have control of the beast, right?
NATO what?
NATO on Wikipedia. It says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for there is a Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saying to me, the waters which thou sawest, like he said, the beast coming out the waters represent the people.
Right.
Where the horse sitteth are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. And I'm gonna leave it right there, and then we're gonna get the definition of it.
Okay, NATO. The letters of NATO actually all got their own meaning. So the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, also called the North Atlantic Alliance, is an intergovernmental military alliance between 30 member states, 28 European and 2 North American.
So it's an alliance, right? But
hold on, let me finish this right here.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
This established in the aftermath of World War II.
And what was NATO established for? I don't know if it tells you on there, but really it was to go up against what you call today Russia, the Soviet Union. Right. They established NATO solely to fight against the Soviet Union, which today is just Russia, to fight against Russia. And you see that today. What do you see going on with Ukraine? Right?
Yeah, it do say it about the Soviet Union too.
All right, hold up. What do you see going on with Ukraine? You see them just, hey man, NATO's going to get involved. NATO's sending troops. NATO's sending weapons or whatever. NATO's doing this. NATO's behind this cyber attack. Right. So it's still the same spirit today. You're going to have Russia that's going, which is Gog and Magog, which is going to play a major part in destroying Mystery Babylon, America, and NATO.
I kind of jumped down, right? But just to touch on what the brother was saying, they say, during the Cold War, NATO operated as a check on the perceived threat posed by the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
The alliance remained in place after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and has been involved in military operations in the Balkans,
right? And
Middle East, South Asia,
that's Bible prophecy. When you look at Ezekiel 38, it speaks about it. We ain't going to it, but Ezekiel 38 speaks about the Lord's going to put the hook Gog and Magog, and they gonna kick off this war. Same thing with the Persians, which is Iran. They gonna be there and they gonna kick off this war against NATO, man. And then eventually, if you go back to Revelation 17, a lot of those allies in NATO and the EU, which is the political side, the economy side, right? They're gonna end up switching sides, because they really, a lot of their stuff depend on Russia. They power and everything.
Yeah.
They feeling that shit, man, while America over here chilling. But they actually gotta feel it. They gonna end up switching sides, and they gonna all attack Mystery Babylon, which is the great whore, and destroy that bitch. This is Revelation 17, verse 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore," right? The 10 horns, if I ain't break it down, that's talking about, like we said, NATO. You got the 7 heads, the power structures, the kingdoms, the 7 mountains, right? And then you got the 10 horns, which is many, many more, but it's a whole bunch of nations that broken off, but they really go back to those original 10, right? 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So you got them with the whore at first, but then they're going to trade and hate the whore and burn her. And then, I mean, it's pretty simple. How do one nation burn another nation? What's that, a beat? I was gonna do this. But how do one nation burn another nation and put another nation on fire? Nuclear missiles, man. So in the news, that's all you see right now. All you see is nuclear missiles. Is Russia going to use nukes? Is this country, is North Korea going to use nukes? The EU nations, they got nukes and everything. You know, so that's all you pretty much see right now on the news, is when is a nuke going to go off? Because they going to eventually turn against America, send nukes on this horde, and destroy it. And that's fulfillment of the fire and brimstone. The Lord said this time he's going to destroy it by fire and brimstone, which is going to be Mystery Babylon, America.
Yeah, that great lake of fire.
Yep, the great lake of fire. You got more on that?
Yeah. And upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
Oh, you back in Revelations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was still verse 1 though.
Verse 1. Yeah. The
So I
name
just had to
it's
finish it
so much, like you'll be in verse 3 for like hella precepts. But Psalms chapter 2, another precept, right? The name of blasphemy. Psalms chapter 2, verse 1. This is some of that blasphemy. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? And the kings of the earth set themselves and their rulers and council together against the Lord and against his anointed. Right? That's that blasphemy. Setting themselves against the Lord. They put it in their movies that they gonna fight against the Lord, the independence they wanted to, and they gonna win. You see what I'm saying? The blasphemy, they telling you that the Lord is an alien with a big head and skinny body and stringy, skinny, weak body and big head.
And he green.
Really is angels, like the apostle, he put out video, brown skin angels, afros, strong, mighty, but he tell you he's very stringy, skinny, weak body, big head, alien, you know what I mean? And it's just fucking blasphemy, man. They tell you that the Lord has leprous of the skin. He looks like a Caucasian man, which was a curse that was put on them, a mark that was put on them. Tell you that the Lord has recessive genes, the stringy hair, the blue eyes. They tell you that God, when you look up God on the internet, the same thing with God, the same thing with Moses, and it says in his anointed, right? So this is all just blasphemy shit. They say that you ain't gotta follow the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments no more.
Right.
You can just do what you want and you could be forgiven, and the Lord looking at that just, like it's blasphemy.
Yep. Just you could do what you want, live how you want to live, and continue in continuous iniquity. Just at the end of whenever you get done doing what you're doing, just pray and ask for forgiveness.
And get water dumped on your head. and then they say you can change your sex. And people gotta accept you. A man can change to a woman can change to a man can be with a man, a woman can be with a woman. This is just complete blasphemy, man. Verse 3. It says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, but the Lord got a personality, man. The Lord gonna fucking laugh at them, man. He laughing right now. And the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon the holy hill of Zion. He says, I will declare a decree. The Lord said upon me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Right? Ask of me, and I shall give the heathen for an inheritance. So what the Lord gonna do, because it's a blasphemy for them to think they're gonna keep us in slavery forever. So what the Lord gonna do is take them and put them in slavery, right? It says, Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter of vessel. And the Lord's going to give us that power, man. Through his son, Yahweh Shai, man. It's just complete blasphemy.
This is Revelation 13, verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Right, the dragon, NATO. Which really, if you break it down, the man that's in power and rulership and control of that are the Edomites. Now the first beast, like it said, the leopard, the bear, that goes back to the first. This is Daniel chapter 7. Let me see where I want to go. Verse 4, right? And it breaks it down, right? It says the first, because really they make you worship that first beast, which really is going into the Romans, the Rome, right? The first was like a lion and had eagle wings, and beheld to the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it, right? And behold, I'm gonna break them down. Behold, another beast, a second, like unto a bear, and it raises up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said, thus until it arise, devour much flesh. And after I behold, and lo, another like a leopard, going to the Greeks, right? Which Alexander the Greek too, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And after I saw the night vision, behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and had great iron teeth. And then if you look up the ages, the Iron Age and stuff like that, it's going to break it down. You had the Babylonians, you had the Persian and Medes, and then you had the Greek Empire, and then you had the Roman Empire. The Edomites came to power, the Greek, and then they came with the Romans, and then they really got rulership, right? That's why I said it was dreadful and terrible. And it says, and it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And we just wrote down the 10 horns today, which is the EU nations, NATO and the EU nation, which NATO is like the military side, that's why we say that, and then the EU side is like the economy side, the political side, and all that shit like that. So just breaking it down.
Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Wondered after the beast. So like
we said, when it says the deadly wound was healed, it's talking about Rome.
Right.
Rome went down during the pagan Roman, but then it turned to the Holy Roman. Jake started to get rulership over Rome. That's when Rome went down. Then Rome came back. You get Revelation 20 top. See that shit?
You want me to start now?
Yeah, at the top.
This Revelation 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Right.
And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Right. So what happened to Rome when they went down? They were bound 1,000 years. They called this the Dark Ages. Really? Yep. Jake, that's when they came back in power during the Renaissance period. Right? But Jake was in power, and that's when you get King James, the Moors. You had the Arabs, Ishmael, they were in power, but Esau was just talking about, he put in his history books to call it the Dark Ages. He was down pretty much, and it speaks about in the Bible. Go to verse 3.
Verse 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. Right. And after that he must be loosed, and after that he must be loosed a little season.
Come back to Revelation. So what happened? He was deceiving the world through his pagan Roman shit, which you get a lot of these holidays and stuff from. He went down, and then it said after that he should be loose to deceive the world again. He came back in power, the Renaissance era, right? He came in power. He started repainting all the pictures of the prophets and stuff to look like him. He gave you Jesus Christ and said the Lord looks like him. and he started to take over nations, and we're gonna get to it in Revelation 13, because just like that the Issachar brother said, he got his power through what? He said with the calflet and the cross, and we said the sword. With the sword he got his power. That's how he was able to deceive the world, man. And he came back into power, in which he's still in power today. And it's prophecy that he will be in power all the way to the end until the Lord comes back and set us free, because that's who's gonna go to war with the Lord.
Verse 4. And
in Revelation 13.
Yeah. Revelation 13, verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him?
Yep, and that's how it is today. People like, man, America, can't nobody do nothing. America.
Fuck with them, man.
America gonna be around who? Oh, Russia, man, they gonna get smoked. China, man, America, fuck them up. You know the weapons America got? But really, they ain't got that shit, man. They gonna get fucked up. They ain't got the power that you think they is, and they about to get exposed, man. When they put Russia in the corner, which really them putting Russia in the corner right now is prophecy being fulfilled. The Lord putting the hooks in Russia. Right. So the Lord is really the Lord. He gonna make Russia have to do something, man. Right. And they gonna drop the motherfucking nukes, man.
Verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Right, so that's a part of it, the blasphemies. You know, when he got power and everybody was worshiping him and said, can nobody fuck with him? He started blaspheming. He started saying he God. He started to show himself as God. Like it says in 2 Thessalonians, right? He started to show himself in the temples as God, man. Yeah. He said, yeah, I'm God. He said, we don't need God no more. We got AI technology, man. We going to the moon. We going to Mars, man. We could, if the Lord sends an asteroid to Earth, we could move it. We could take it off its course. They just tested that shit, man. Right? And in the 42, we already spoke about that. In Revelations 11, I'll get it again. Verse 11. It says, after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So the 42 is really talking about the 3 days and a half, but it's not talking about literally 3 days and a half. It's 350 years. We broke this down in Revelations 11. 350 years from, if you take the time where they established us as slavery. I've been stumbling on my words today. You got to just stay sharp though, so y'all do that. Was that 1619, 1620, to which gets you to 1969, 1970, which the prophecy is with Abba Bivens, John the Baptist coming back reincarnated, Elijah coming back reincarnated to where the Great Awakening started, the truth being spread. Because remember in Matthew 24 it says, then shall this gospel be spread throughout the four corners of earth, and then the end should come. So that was the time where it started, and now we continuing on in it and spreading it, and then the end, we about to see the end come here soon.
Verse 6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemies against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Yep. We gave you examples of how they did that. You got any examples how they did that? How they was blaspheming the Lord and his name, his image.
I mean, should they blaspheme us right now? You know, the brothers that's out there on the highways and byways, you know, they don't think we know what we doing. Yep. Right? They just like the brother was saying, because we did, but I'm gonna go back into it, about the UFOs. Right? Those are the ones that dwell in heaven. Yep. Right? They
facts.
Come up with all different types of images of how they look.
But they never give you the true image. Exactly. And they know the true image, bro. And they know in the Bible it speaks about the angels as being men. But they telling you that it's
like monsters and shit. Like,
yeah, man. Just all type of bullshit, man. This is where the Lord, they crucify his image. They took the Lord in, they took Yahushua image down. It's right in Revelation chapter 1. They took that down, man, and gave you what they wanted to give you. Right?
Verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Now that's important, right? Power was given to him over pretty much the world. Right. So it's not hard, man. This is for these Israelites, these internet Hebrew Israelites that want to save Esau and say that he's Japhet. It's not hard, man, to see, say that the Caucasian man is Japhet. Bro, it's not hard to see who's in power. It said, It literally just said he was given power over all nations. To me, he in power over the world, man. So who's in power over the world? If you had to put one person and say this is the person that got the most power and influence over the world, who would it be, man? And then it's prophecy that Esau, those same people that got power over the world will be the same people called Esau, because it was prophecy that Esau would be ruling at the end of the world. This is 2nd Esdras 6:9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, meaning Esau will be a rulership and power in the end of the world. So when you read Revelation, what verse is that?
7.
When you read Revelation verse 7, you say, well, who?
Revelation 13 and 7.
Revelation 13 and 7, and you see it, and you say, okay, that's the one I saw, ain't it? And then it say, because I heard the song, all right? So then it say, okay, who is that? It said it was given to him to get power. Who is the him? Well, then 2nd Esdras 6:9 tells you, for Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. It's Esau. That's who the him is. It's Esau. And who is that in real life that's ruling the earth? The Caucasian, man. The Romans.
Facts.
Simple. That's the simple breakdown, man.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundations of the world.
Yep. And who is the world worshiping, man? When you go to China, they got suits on. They build skyscrapers. The first skyscrapers was built over here in America. Now the whole world, look at Dubai. They talking about they got the most glorious city on earth ever. That's what Dubai claiming.
Right.
Really, they just trying to build the kingdom, but they ain't getting nowhere near close, because I don't see they streets made of gold. They still got concrete streets.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? But who did they get that shit from? America. The so-called Caucasian men, the Romans, man. So it's not hard to see who the Edomites are today, man.
He said, I don't see these streets made of gold.
Yeah, I mean, bro, they got McDonald's.
Yeah.
Where that shit come? They got Starbucks. Where that shit come from, man?
Exactly.
The whole world's trying to follow Mystery Babylon the Great, which is America. Really, because what made this place great is that the Israelites were here.
Right.
Off the backs of the Israelites, man. So those are the Edomites, and that's prophecy, because this Isaiah 63, right? Because who did the Lord say he was coming back for? The Lord coming back to fight against the top dog that's on rulership, which are the Edomites. I must say again, this Isaiah 63 verse 1. Who is that coming from Edom? Right? So if it say who is that coming from Edom, right? Who's the Lord? The Lord finna come back and go fight the Arabs that really ain't got no power. They ain't got power over America. Where's they fucking nukes and shit at? Some of them got nukes, but they not a world superpower. And they not the #1 world superpower. So no, you know who he's coming back to fight. The so-called Caucasian white man. Even the Issacharite that came up, he knew that. Right? It says, who is that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his appeal traveling and greatness of his strength, that I speak in righteousness, mighty to save. We know who that is. Like in Hawashai. It says, wherefore art thou red in thy apparel, and thy garment like him that treadeth the wine fat? Because Yahweh sit on the throne. And Yahweh not getting on the throne. So he sent his son, Yahweh, that's what he created his son for, to come do his biddings in his name. Yahweh's sitting on the throne, man. But his spirit is going to be in the nuclear missiles. His spirit's going to be there. He's going to control them. That's spiritual power, man. Y'all don't know shit about that. But y'all watch Star Wars and shit. Y'all believe everything that Darth Vader do. That's spiritual power, man. Right? Verse 3. It says, I had tried the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. I would tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood should be sprinkled upon my garments, and I would stain my remnant, because motherfuckers is wicked. So the Lord said he's going to do this to them. It says, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeem is to come. We know this is future prophecy. This has not happened. The Lord ain't took his day of vengeance yet. That's the day he comes back. That's the day the whole world's waiting for. Revelation chapter 1. Behold, you should see him with the clouds of the sky, pretty much. Every eye should see him, right? But he said he's taking vengeance, and he said he's coming from Edom. So when the Lord comes back, guess who will be in power? The Edomites. That's who he's coming to take vengeance on. Who's in power? The so-called Caucasian man. It's simple, right? Ain't that very simple, man?
Yeah, it's simple, but you still got people out there. Even Jake, I was watching this video with these two different Israelite groups, right? Mm-hmm. One was Sakari, who I watch from time to time, and the other one was, I don't even know what group this brother was from, but you could tell he was in the truth. But they was just having a debate, not a debate, but it was just kind of like, it was edifying to me. Right, but they was having a debate on the brother who wasn't a part of Sakari, he was saying that he think that the Edomites is going to inherit the kingdom, even though they got judgment coming, they got judgment coming to them from the Lord. And after that judgment, the ones that's left is going to be the ones that's going to inherit the kingdom, joint heirs with the Israelites.
And that's fucked up because it tells you that the heathen should be a possession. We just read it in Psalms 2.
Right.
Actually, we're going to read some more of it. It says that they're going to go in slavery, man. They're people. Did we inherit America with them? We're here, and then you got some of us that get in power positions, but not real power, though. They have power over things. And they going to be in the kingdom, too, but they going to be slaves.
Yes.
The inheritance of the kingdom is only for the Israelites.
The fatness of the king.
Right. Now, does that mean that, okay, let's give an example. If you take an Edomite wife, because we can take wives from all nations, right? Does that mean that she's just going to be a slave? You might give her some good things. Just like Jake today. Or just like back in slavery. You had the house slaves. They got some good things. They got to eat a little bit more food. They got to sleep in the house with heat and shit with the roof over them. Right? But they did not inherit. They were in rulership. That's the point.
They still was niggas.
Right. They still was under. Right, so the same thing with us. Only the Israelites are going to be on the top. They're going to be under. Now, if I take a wife and she an Edomite, it's her family. It's some shit going to trickle down to her family. They might get some good shit out of the fact that I married their daughter or something like that. Maybe. That's why it says our gates are going to be open. They're going to be bringing their daughters. Hey, get a Hebrew husband. Hopefully a Hebrew husband chose you. They're going to be taking the most beautifulest Edomites woman and bringing them to our gates to say, hope that this woman hit the lottery and get chosen by a Hebrew Israelite man. Why? Because that's gonna bring goodness and things to the whole family.
Right.
Just by her getting married, but getting chosen. You see what I'm saying? If she's a concubine, she's gonna still get to live in the mansion. She's gonna still get to live in the palace. One of the palaces that you got. So yeah, but that don't mean that they're inheriting. The inheritance is only for Israel. You could go live in Dubai all the fuck you want, and you could be a millionaire living in Dubai. That don't mean that you're inheriting Dubai. That's for their princes and their king over there. That's the rule. The royal class over there runs Dubai. You can go live in England, but the royal class, Queen Elizabeth and shit like that, and their people, that's who's inheritance. That's their inheritance. That's who's ruling over there. At least that's what they say today, right? You could go live over there and be a millionaire and succeed over there. That don't mean that you're inheriting England. Don't mean that you're inheriting Dubai just because you're a millionaire and you're good over there. That's just a quick example. You see what I'm saying? You can keep going. No. I got keep going.
This verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
You already know we got to go into that. You guys ain't working. So you already know we got to go into that, right? Because all this shit, like I said, the world will worship this man, will bow down to this man. Who could make war with him, right? The power that he got. But the Lord still said, he gave us some hope. He said, look, this is the patience and the faith of the saints. This is what we teach and this is what we feel. This is what we pray about. But the Lord still said, guess what? But guess what? Even when he get the whole world in power over all nations and tongues and kindreds, he said, guess what? The Lord said, look, he that killeth with the sword still going to be killed with the sword. Said he that lead into captivity, since he got power over everybody, he going to go into captivity.
Where we at the top on this one?
Yep. So how the fuck he going to be in rulership in the kingdom and inherit the kingdom with us when the Lord just said he that killeth with the sword leading to captivity is going to go into captivity? His people, did they lead our people into captivity? So then they going to go into captivity. Just that simple. Yep, go ahead.
Isaiah 14 verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel.
Right. He going to have mercy on Jacob, yet choose Israel. But then the Edomites that's left, they going to inherit. He going to choose them too. It didn't fucking say that, man. It said he going to have mercy on Jacob and choose Israel only.
Right. And set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
All right, break it up, keep going.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their
So it
oppressors.
says, should take them captives who captives they wore
And
for service and handmaid.
Yeah, and that's why when it said in the previous verse, when it said that they shall cleave unto Jacob, that's why they're going to cleave unto us, not for their benefit.
But it's twofold though, right?
Right.
Because they gonna cleave to us too, because they gonna be under us in slavery.
Right.
But just like we gotta get everything from them today, our clothes, our food, and everything, they gonna have to get all that shit from us. So they gonna be cleaving to us. But really, it's the Israelites, because we gonna have like the Bible prophecy that our sons and our daughters, because the deliverance from Mystery Babylon, that's the 1/3, that's the elect that's gonna be delivered. But we still gonna have Israelites all over the world that's gonna come back to Israel, and they got an inheritance too. So they gonna cleave into us too, and they gonna, you know, just like when you come into the truth, right?
Right.
You cleave into one that's a Jew. You cleave into him, so you can learn the truth and you can build up. You come in as a baby, you don't know anything. You kind of scared, but you taking those first steps.
Right.
So the Lord building you up. So you cleave into another brother that's already a little far along, and then it builds you up. So you build up off the back of that brother. So that's just how it works. So it's going to be the same thing in the kingdom. The strangers, because it's two strangers, the Israelite strangers, and then it's the actual strangers, the heathen. The Israelite strangers are going to cleave, and they're going to come into it, and we're going to build up our nation. We're going to pop all the women. We're going to have a lot of wives, and we're going to have a lot of kids. We're going to rebuild our nation. It tells us to be fruitful and multiply. It tells us in Deuteronomy 30 that the Lord's going to multiply our seed by us having sex, of course. That's the only way you're going to multiply a seed, right? Simple shit. You know, and because it be dudes out here. Are we gonna have sex in the kingdom? Yes, we're gonna have a lot of sex in the
That's that
kingdom.
Christian mentality. They believe in the miraculous conception. That's what's gonna happen.
Israelites just gonna be popping up,
Yeah.
grown.
Women just
poof out of
gonna
nowhere.
be pregnant. Poof, she pregnant. Poof, poof, poof. No.
No, we're gonna go into them. We're gonna have sex with them, and we're gonna have multiple wives and a lot of children, right? So but then when it gets to the other nations, you can say the other nations are gonna cleave into us too. Don't we cleave into Esau for anything? You go get your food, you going to Walmart, that shit all traces back to Esau.
Right.
He has to bring it and transport it, and that's all under his control.
They controlling that shit on the ports.
Yep, that shit all in his control. Yep. So yeah, same shit. But the other nations, they're gonna go into captivity. So you should take captive who captive you are, and they should be servants and handmaids. That's them. Not rulers of the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God. It didn't say that.
Keep going on that, Isaiah.
Yeah, keep going.
Verse 3. Isaiah 14, verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased?
So him that had rulership over the whole earth, over all kindreds and tongues, power, Lord said, look, we're going to take up, probably going to say, damn, what happened? We saying that today, man.
Yeah.
That prophecy is starting to be fulfilled, ain't fully fulfilled, but it's starting to be fulfilled. We saying that today, like, damn, what happened? Damn, they was empowered. That shit coming, just like the Issachar that came up here. He was like, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it coming down. I can see it.
Yeah.
So everybody's saying, like, yeah, what happened, man?
Facts.
Like, damn, homie. In high school,
we
you was
know.
the man, homie.
Because we know old America, right? Old Mystery Babylon the Great, they would have been went over there to Russia and got what's buddy name?
Got busy. They would have assassinated him.
Man, they would have went over there, they would have got him, they would have, you know what I'm saying, the same way they did Osama bin Laden.
Yep.
Right? They would have made that, but they can't do that right now. They can't because they not, you know, they not who they used to be.
Yeah, and the Lord set it up.
Exactly.
They can't do it. The Lord gave Russian nukes. So they
Right.
scared, man. You go over there, them boys gonna get the drop and shit. The
yeah.
shit gonna get and that's what's about to happen. You can see it already forming and happen. We just praying that this is it. Cause sometimes it'll bubble up and then it'll bubble back down.
Right.
Then it'll bubble back up. So we just praying.
But it's gonna reach that point to where the water gonna boil over the pot.
Overspend.
and then it's gonna start a fire.
Major fire. And that's what we get into. You can kind of see it happen. So we kind of saying that today, like, damn, what happened, man? You know?
Isaiah?
Yeah, jump to verse 20.
Isaiah 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
And that's what it's about. You could be here, but we not in possession of America.
Right.
Right? So they're not going to be in possession in the kingdom, some of them.
Right.
It says, look, that they possess not the land. So it says prepare slaughter for the children. So the children that survive or whatever, or go into the bunkers or whatever, and Europe and different parts of the earth and run and flee America and survive, they're not going to inherit the kingdom, because it said that they're not going to possess no more. And they're not going to fill the cities with their faces, with the world no more.
Yeah, they're going to be back in the dark age.
Yeah.
But this time it's going to be forever.
Permanently.
You know what I'm saying? So
Everlasting, man. So no, the Edomites, the only people that's going to be in possession and rulership in the kingdom to inherit, which is the inheritance of Israel, is only Israel. That's simple.
back to Revelation.
Yep.
Verse 11. Revelation 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
This beast is talking about America, Mystery Babylon, man. The 2 horns is they 2 political systems, which is what?
The 2 political, the Republican and the Democrats.
Yep, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, right? That's the 2 horns. So most people either fall on one of those sides, somewhere in between, but closer to one of the other sides, man. And you see that shit going on with Trump and Biden right now. That's the 2 horns. That's how they rule. It's the 2 horns of the same beast, really.
Yeah.
2 wings of the same bird.
Part of the deception.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got this side acting like it's for the people,
Yep.
and this side acting like it's for the people, but this side telling you that this side not for the people, and this side telling you that this side not for the people.
Facts.
But neither of them is for us. Period. They
They're
all
really for the beast.
Exactly.
Because it's 2 horns of the beast.
Exactly.
They really, and that's how you do things, man. I seen the code, and this is the code that the Lord made, right? And this goes for everything. There always have to be an opposition. There always have to be an enemy. That's how you build yourself up. Right. And when you look at the boxing world, just for example, you have Floyd Mayweather, but you always have to have an arch nemesis. Who is his arch nemesis? Pacquiao.
Right.
Even today, with the 2 guys that's at the top, Errol Spence, who's his arch nemesis. Crawford. You always gotta have an arch nemesis. When you look up Jacob of Israel, who was their arch nemesis? Esau. So there always have to be an arch nemesis. That's how the world works. So when they doing a political party, you got the Republican, but we need opposition. That's how we gonna get power. We need an opposition, because people come in to see, what did this side say about that side? What did this side say about this side? What side is winning? When you look at your streets, your gangs, you got the Bloods, you got the Crips. There's always an opposition. When you look at our little town, you got this gang versus that gang. They build up, they become hood stars because they going against somebody. So all the girls, all the other niggas in the middle, they want to choose sides and see which side winning, which side score. When you look at Chicago, what is it? You got Overlock or whatever versus the FBG, whatever.
63rd.
63rd. It always have to be an opposition. That's how you build yourself up, man.
Facts.
And that's the code that I've been seeing. In every part of life, there's always a prey and a predator.
Yep. And that's how you
prey.
Yeah, because that's part of gaining your power.
Yep.
You know
Your
what I mean?
popularity, your power. Yep. Facts. When I was racing cars, the first thing they did was put me up against somebody. That became my arch nemesis.
Right.
And then that's how we both were able to build up our popularity. Because everybody want to see, what did he say about him? What did he say about him? When are they going to do this? When are they going to do that? When are they going to catch each other?
Yeah.
So that's just really like the code that the Lord
And
created.
and this, like you said,
You see it with everything.
it's a code. Yeah, because now that you said that, I think about the Javante Davis and Ryan Garcia whole build up. It's all a build up.
Yep, it's all
You know
a
what I'm
build up
saying?
to these 2 sides going against each other.
Yep, exactly.
And that's edifying, because what do you see with the overall picture? It's all a build up to these Israel versus Edom. And that's
Right.
going to be the war in the heaven with the angels, the elect, coming down, fighting against Esau and his best technology, his fighter jets, his nuclear missiles, the best that Esau got versus the angels, the chariots, and the Lord.
Yeah, because
Esau versus Jacob.
we are the best people up on earth, right? We are the most talented. Like if you look at basketball, the greatest basketball player to ever live, Michael Jordan, he was an Israelite. The greatest golf player to ever live, Tiger Woods, he's an Israelite. The greatest tennis player to ever live, Serena Williams, she's an Israelite. So on and so forth, right? So we are the best people of the world, and it's proven. But right now we don't look like that because we are losing by our arch nemesis, which is Esau, right? The so-called white man. We losing by our arch nemesis, and so really, what we gotta do is what we doing right now, right? And that's how we gonna come back into our power. But like he said, like this is our build up This is our build up, and then at the end of it all, it's gonna come to pass, and it's gonna show who was always the people of the earth.
Yep. It's the whole Rocky story, pretty much.
Right.
We down low right now, but we gonna come back.
Revelation 13, verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Which is talking about Rome. But they don't call themselves Romans today. But they're the same people. Who's a part of the the Roman Peace Treaty, or I believe it's called that, right? You can look that up though. But they make you worship Rome all over again, because they are the Romans. So they don't call themselves, they call themselves Americans today. Different Edomites, different EU nations, and NATO, which is the Romans all over again. But they make you worship Rome. That's why you worship it. That's why you keep it Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Valentine's Day. That all goes back to pagan Rome. They making you worship Rome. You gotta ask yourself, where the fuck is Santa Claus at in the Bible? Okay, so why are we keeping Christmas every year? It's pagan Roman worship. They're making you worship the first beast.
Yeah, because it all goes back into a history. It all started from somewhere.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But they don't tell you where it started from. They just try to, put the wool over your eyes with the gifts and the Christmas tree and, you know what I'm saying, all of that. But it's all another deception.
Yep. And then you say, well, my kids gotta have a life. Like, your kids can't have a life without keeping Christmas. What's gonna happen to them if they don't keep Christmas, man?
Yeah, I mean,
but my kids gotta have fun. My kids gotta have a life. Well, I'm just doing it because it's fun, but it goes back to something. Exactly. And the origins of it is pagan Roman, really, which is devil worship, man.
Exactly.
And you can be judged for it. So if you really want your kids to have life, you will have them follow the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your abilities and follow the Lord.
Right. Because that's where you're gonna get the blessings. You're gonna get the blessings all year directly from the Lord to you for trying, and you could be able to possibly give your kids whatever it is they want.
And that's why Esau set the woman up over the man.
Exactly.
Because he knows it's easy to control the woman because they go off emotions. My kids gotta keep Christmas. My kids gotta have fun. They never had Christmas and all that. So Esau set the woman up over the man. That's why it's such a big push for the woman right now. When you look at the music industry, who's on top? The woman. When you look at every big time movie that come out, they got the woman king. They done turned the Black Panther to the woman. I was so pissed about it. When you look,
that?
Yeah, his sister. Yep, they couldn't find no other man. They couldn't find 50 to do it. They couldn't find Ghost to play the part. Ghost would have did great on that part. Shit, his son Tyreek would have did good. They could have got Wesley Snipes to come do shit.
Or even what's the dude who played up Daddy's Little Girls?
Kevin Hart.
No, the dude who played up Daddy's Little Girls.
They could have got Kevin Hart to did. I would have been happy. Man, they could have got Will Smith to do it.
My boy said Kevin Hart.
They could have got they could have got Big Meech son, Lil Meech to do it.
Yeah, for real though. They put
Joey Badass. They put the female to do it, man. You remember they did that shit with Coming to America?
Yeah, part 2.
He put his daughter on the throne, and his son passed all the tests.
He gave it to his
daughter. Put his daughter on the throne.
Immediately, his throne was taken away once he did.
Yep, immediately. So you see them pushing that woman, that feminine spirit, man, that narrative. You could clearly see that it's a big push. Why? Because they could control the whole nation by controlling the woman. They did this during the days of slavery. The women were the house slaves, and they used them to control the field slaves. Same thing all over again, man.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me the other day, it was their son's birthday party coming up, and they wanted me to come. And they asked me, is my daughter coming? I told them, like, nah, my daughter not coming. We not celebrating birthdays. We don't celebrate holidays. We don't do none of that. And they was like, why? And I was like, it's a long story, but it's what I don't believe in. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody don't deserve the explanation because a lot of people gonna still do what they want to do anyway. But and then she was like, that's crazy. I was like, what's crazy about it? I was like, if it's not, no. Then she was like, well, it ain't really a birthday thing. It's, for the kids to have fun. I was like, okay, if that's the case, then let's just do it tomorrow.
Right.
Let's just do it tomorrow. Right. And she was like, well, no. I'm like, exactly. So you're going to wait till the birthday.
Right. It's a birthday thing, right? But that's that emotional shit, man.
Yeah.
So that's why Esau pushing that trend out there right now, man. But the elect will not be deceived. You keep going.
Revelation 13, verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
And that's how they got their power, right? During the time when they bombed Japan, the 2 cities, they made that fire. What's that fire, man? We keep telling you, just like when we read Revelation chapter 17, how are the nations, the 10 horns, going to turn against the great horn and set her on fire? They going to make fire come from the heaven. How? Nuclear missiles. They don't have the power to just bring an asteroid of fire and brimstone out the sky like the Lord does. So what the Lord did, he gave them technology to build a machine, a weapon, to do it. The Lord could do it in a spiritual way, but the Lord gave them the technology, the sword, to do it in a carnal way. So that's a weapon. That's a hypersonic nuclear weapon, man. And they use it and they bring it out the sky, and it's going to come down and destroy. And we've seen that with the atomic bomb that they dropped on Japan. So when they did that and they run that fire out the sky and put that fire on the Japanese ass, Amon ass, right? When they did that, the whole world said, oh shit, that can happen
Put
to
everybody
us.
in fear.
Yeah, America, man, they got that power, man. They'll drop an atomic bomb on your ass. And the other nations was trying to develop Russia, China, but they were smaller and they didn't have that technology yet. They was behind. But America already had that shit, man. So then they said, damn, that's when they got their power. That's when they got their respect. That's when they got their clock. All the other nations start, man, America, God is with America. God is with, you know that shit they say, God bless America?
Yeah.
Hey, God is with America. We got to go to America, man. We got to be allies with America. They got the power. They got the keys, man. They had the keys to the world. They still got them, but the Lord finna come take them. Hey, let me get them keys off of you. He finna come repo America. He finna come repo the world back. He finna come repo that vehicle, take the keys from them, and give it to the Israelites. We like the lien holders. Our name is on the title, we like on the lien, but we ain't got possession of it.
We the bank, goddamn.
Yeah. So the Lord finna say, look, you ain't make your payment. Let me get those keys. Let me repo the keys to the world and give it back to the lien holder, the Israelites. You know, facts.
This verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do, which the brother was just saying, in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had wound by a sword and did live.
Rome.
Verse 15.
And we finna get into some woo.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
The beast, he make you worship Rome. Now the beast today, they don't call themselves Roman, but it's just the system. They make you worship the system, man, the image, right? The image that they put out there to the world, the system. Look, this is the way, their ways of their system pretty much. And they did that in ancient time, right? So this is with the Greeks, right? First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. That sounds very familiar today in America, right? All people coming together as one people, Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, Negro Americans, African Americans, you know, on and on and on, right? It says, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. That sounds very familiar today. Don't follow law, statutes, commandments, but follow the laws of America, right? The laws of the king, right? It says, and all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king, which we see today. It says, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. Wait, what? You just talking to the Issacharite brother about that. He was saying, yeah, how all his people are Catholics, and how all the Negroes are Christians, pretty much. They consented to that religion, man. It says, but when they consented to that religion, guess what it made them do? It says, and sacrifice unto idols. They start sacrifice to idols. We just said Christmas, Santa Claus, that's an idol, false idol. It says, and profane the Sabbath. So they don't keep the high days of the Lord no more. They keep the holidays now. Same thing today. It says, for the king has sent letters by messengers into Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah that they shall follow the strange laws of the land. Same thing today, man. So no, we can't, the Edomites gonna be saved. We can be one with the Edomites. They can come into our church and congregate with us. Why? Because that's gonna cause us to sin against the Lord, man. Because they're the wicked. It says, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they shall profane the Sabbath in the festival days, and pollute the sanctuary in holy people. And that's what you see today. Same thing today, man.
And that's been the history of our people. Whenever we was all amongst each other and together, we always followed the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. But whenever we got to intertwining with these different nations and shit, we always went off.
Yep.
We always went off.
And that's why the Lord said you are a holy people. Holy means to be separate. You're supposed to be separate from these people. That's why the Lord said He's gonna choose. We read in Isaiah 14, gonna choose Israel and put them in the land. He's gonna set them in the land separate. That don't mean they ain't gonna be there, but they're not gonna be one with us. They're gonna be our slaves and under us, not on the same level, not one with us, man. Very simple. Don't that all makes perfect sense?
Yeah.
Simple, you know.
Verse 16.
Oh yeah, and then his new system, he's still trying to do the same thing. All people, one world order.
Yeah.
That's the image. That's his system. One world order. All people together under one world government, and leave all their religions and follow his law. Same thing.
Yeah. Because he know what it does. He knows that it creates a big confusion. Because his big goal, their main goal, is to keep us, Jake, the Israelites, underneath them. Underneath them. Like that's like when it all boils down to it, it's to keep us in captivity up underneath them.
And that's what NATO was built for too, man. To fight against Russia and them and come up against the Israelites, man. And consult together, like it says in Psalms 83, I believe, yeah, Psalms 83. Consult together against the chosen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I got a precept right here too. Matthew 6, verse 24. No man can serve two masters. So he trying to have you, he trying to be the master over you. So guess what? You can't serve two masters. If you serving him, if you take the mark of the beast, which we about to get into, then you can't serve the Lord.
Hold on, I got a precept on that too. Which one was that?
And that's just go. Matthew 6, verse 24.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
This verse 16, Revelation 13, verse 16. And he causeth all both, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that
you want to break down on it, the mark.
Yeah, that's just going into the part of that NWO, that new world system where everything is going digital. You know what I mean? Here in a second, that what it's talking about, that mark is going to be part of they new government. Their new governmental system is which is going to cause whoever don't have that mark, right, that C-hip inside them, whether it be in their hand or their forehead, they're not going to be able to buy, sell, or trade, right? And you know, and then that's going to exile you, right? You're going to be, at that moment, you're going to be part of the exiles of the NWO.
Just like when we read at First Maccabees, that one world government, and you gotta sin against the Lord, put off, you know, they profane the high holy days, the Sabbath day, and you gotta follow the laws of that new one world government, which is take the chip. And when you take the chip, that is a sin that you can't repent from. So it's caused you to sin against the Lord, and like we said in Matthew 6, it's caused you to set up Esau as your God now. You taking that chip, you getting branded by him like a horse. You say, look, Esau's my God now, man. And I don't need you no more, Lord. And there's a judgment that comes for it, man. Matter of fact, I got it right here, Revelation 14, verse 9. When the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or his hand, right, the same should drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he should be tormented with fire and brimstone, meaning that nuclear missile won't come down on you. It says, in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they had no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Take the chip, man.
Take that shit. It's gonna be rough.
Yep.
Take that shit, man.
You can play around all the fuck you want and say that it's this and that, but when that chip come, don't take that. You know what I mean? And they already coming out with shit, man, for schools and shit. Yeah. Talking about putting the chip under their skin and stuff like that. They could be scanned. Hey, don't take that chip, man. Just know that.
This verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell that he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
It said, here's the wisdom. This is the wisdom of it. It says the number of a man. That man go back to Esau, because that's who will be in rulership at the end in order to implement the mark of the beast, which his nation, the great whore, Mystery Babylon that's sitting on the dragon, Mystery Babylon, the Great Heart, which is what? America. And who has rulership in America, man? Who has possession? The Edomites, the Romans, the Caucasians. So that's who's going to give you the mark of the beast, man. And you'll be setting them up as your God. Now the 666 breaks down. You go to Revelation 17, like we just said. Mystery Babylon the Great harlots, the mother of harlots. Those three, if you break it down in the number, the Hebrew numbers, it translates to 666. Mystery Babylon the Great, man. Which really is Esau. And he been putting that shit in patents, man. I remember doing the whole, we can't really speak about it, but the whole pandemic and shit like that. You know, there was a patent that came out with 060606 with that guy Gates. So now I ain't talking about Kevin Gates. We can't really speak on all that shit, man. I already got one right now. But wherever there's darkness, there's light. You know, so this is the light. Revelation 15, verse 1. I saw another sign in heaven. Who said we ain't got precepts for the mark of the beast? I could give you 3 more. You know, but it says verse 15 on verse 1. I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them had gotten a victory over the beast, over the firmament, right? But they're going to be on those chariots. They're going to be called up, like it says 1 Thessalonians 4:17, called up into heaven with the Lord, right? It says, and over, it had got victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark, meaning you did not take the chip, right? It says, and over the number of his name, stand on a sea of glass having the harps of God. And they sang a song of Moses, the servant of God, and a song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty, just and true are thy ways, thou King of the saints. So that's for us that don't take the chip, the elect that get saved. You know, they're going to be with the Lord. That's what salvation is. And we're going to be with the Lord forever in the kingdom, you know. So that's the end. Break down Revelation 13. We broke it down to you. You know, with that, we're going to give all praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakadash.
salvation.
Shalom.